eye. Then what else twinkles?
His pistol.
His pistol, very good. And his, anyone catch the third thing? His rapier or his sword. Okay? Then it says he's got a large hat. He's got some lace at his throat, meaning a lace shirt. He's got pants on with no wrinkles, and he's got boots on, like riding boots up to here. Imagine if you've ever seen a picture like of the Three Musketeers, that style. So is he a dirty, shabby-looking thief? No, for back then he looks good. No wrinkles in his pants. He got dressed up to go and be a thief. All right. Over the cobbles he clattered and clashed in the dark inn yard, and he tapped with his whip on the shutters, but all was locked and barred. He whistled a tune to the window, and who should be waiting there but the landlord's black-eyed daughter, Bess the landlord's daughter, plaiting a dark red love knot into her long black hair. And dark in the dark old inn yard, a stable wicket creaked, where Tim the ostler listened. His face was white and peaked. His eyes were hollows of madness, and his hair like moldy hay. But he loved the landlord's daughter, the landlord's red-lipped daughter. Dumb as a dog he listened, and he heard the robbers say. So we've met our next two characters. We've met Bess, the landlord's daughter, and what is she doing? The highwayman gets there, he taps on her window, she comes to the window, and what does she look like?
She looks like she's braiding her hair.
Okay, she's braiding her hair, she has this dark hair, she has dark eyes, she's braiding a red ribbon through her hair. And what does the poem tell us that the red ribbon represents? She's tying a what knot in her hair? Okay. All right, can you look on with Erin for right now? We may need to restart it. So she's tying a love knot in her hair. So, does she tell him, I love you? Does she say anything? No, he just comes and she's braiding this red ribbon in her hair like, I love you, look at my ribbon. Then we meet Tim. And Tim is an ostler or a stable boy, someone who works with horses. Does he also love Bess?
Yes.
Yes. And how does Tim look? What does the poem tell us about his eyes?
Moldy hair. He looks crazy.
Yes, they're hollows of madness. Is he excited that Bess is getting a visitor from a thief? No, he's mad. They're hollows of madness. What about his hair?
It's like hay. Moldy hay.
It's like moldy hay. So maybe Tim, is he very clean? No.
He's like a peasant.
Okay, yes, he could be a peasant. So we have the thief dressed up, and we have Tim the peasant, and they both love Bess. So the thief, or the peasant is in the bushes, and he's going to eavesdrop. And he's like, I'm so mad. I'm going to listen to what this guy is here to say. All right, so the highwayman says to Bess, one kiss, my bonny sweetheart. I'm after a prize tonight, but I shall be back with the yellow gold before the morning light. Yet if they press me sharply and harry me through the day, then look for me by moonlight, watch for me by moonlight. I'll come to thee by moonlight, though hell should bar the way. He rose upright in the stirrups, he scarce could reach her hand, but she loosened her hair in the casement. His face burnt like a brand, as the black cascade of perfume came tumbling over his breast, and he kissed its wave in the moonlight. Oh, sweet black waves in the moonlight. Then he tugged at his reins in the moonlight and galloped away to the west. So he says, Bess, I don't have much time. I've got to go rob some people. I'm bringing the gold back in the morning. I'll be here. If I'm not here by noon, if they're after me, then I will be here by midnight. So what does she say? Be careful. I love you. No, what does she say? And she doesn't actually verbally say anything. She shows it by her actions. What does she do? She unbraids her hair, which to us seems kind of foreign. But back then, it was kind of improper to just let your hair down unless you were married to someone. Okay? So she's braiding her hair, and then what she does, she lets out her long black Rapunzel hair, which hangs all the way out the window. All the way out the window, and what does he do? What does he do?
Oh,
yes. She lets it out, and all he does is he kisses her hair, and then he rides away. And the whole time, who's in the bushes?
The peasant.
The peasant Tim is in the bushes. All right, very good. Part 2. He did not come in the dawning, he did not come at noon, and out of the tawny sunset, before the rise of the moon, when the road was a gypsy's ribbon, looping the purple moor, a red-coat troop came marching, marching, marching. King George's men came marching up to the old inn door. They said no word to the landlord, they drank his ale instead, but they gagged his daughter and bound her to the foot of her narrow bed. Two of them knelt at her casement, with muskets at their side. There was death at every window, and hell at one dark window, for Bess could see through her casement the road that he would ride. So who shows up at the inn the next day?
The soldiers.
Soldiers. Okay, and we know that they are English soldiers for two small things that the author adds. Anyone pick them up? One of them right here?
Red coat.
They're red coats. Good. Did you? Is that your answer as well?
It says they're King George's men.
It says they're King George's men. Very good. So the red coats come. They don't talk to the innkeeper, her dad. They drink his ale, and then they kidnap basically Bess, and they tie her to the end of her bed with a musket by her side with the open windows. Okay? And now let's see what happens next. They had tied her up at attention with many a sniggering jest. So they're making fun of the fact that they're tying her up to look like a soldier right there at the end of her bed. They had bound a musket by her side with a barrel beneath her breast. Now keep good watch. And they kissed her. She heard the dead man say, look for me by moonlight. Watch for me by moonlight. I'll come to thee by moonlight, though hell should bar the way. She is being made fun of, tied to a bed, and who is she thinking about? Yeah, the thief, the highwayman. She's sitting there, you would be petrified, and she's saying, oh no, he's coming back. He's going to come back. He told me he would come back. He's going to, and they're here. All right? She twisted her hands behind her, but all the knots held good. She writhed her hands till her fingers were wet with sweat or blood. They stretched and they strained in the darkness, and the hours crawled by like years, till now on the stroke of midnight, cold on the stroke of midnight, the tip of one finger touched it. The trigger at least was hers. The tip of one finger touched it. She strove no more for the rest. Up she stood up to attention, with the barrel beneath her breast. She would not risk their hearing. She would not strive again, for the road lay bare in the moonlight, blank and bare in the moonlight, and the blood of her veins in the moonlight throbbed in her to her love's refrain. Plot, 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 plot. Had they heard it? The horse was ringing clear. Plot, 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 in the distance. Were they deaf? That they did not hear? Down the ribbon of moonlight, over the brow of the hill, the highwayman came riding, riding, riding. The redcoats looked to their priming. She stood up straight and still. All right, so she's wiggling her hands. She finally reaches the trigger, and then she sits still. And then what does she hear? She hears the highwayman coming. She can hear it. Plot, 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 plot. She hears the hooves of the horse coming. And what are the redcoats doing? What does it mean when it says the redcoats look to their priming?
Oh,
Ooh, Bailey.
they're listening. They're watching her see what she's doing.
Okay, they're watching her to see what she's doing. But what does that one word mean, priming, back then? What did you have to do to an old rifle or a musket back then?
It means an explosive used to set off the charge in a gun.
Yes, have you ever seen an old movie where they'll kind of pour the powder in and they'll kind of ram it down? Okay, that's priming an old gun. So did they hear the highwayman coming? Yes. She's like, why don't they hear it? Is it just me? And then they start getting their rifles ready to shoot. And she knows that they have now heard. Okay, plot, plot in the frosty silence. Plot, plot in the echoing night. Nearer, he came and nearer. His face was like a light. Her eyes grew wide for a moment. She drew one last deep breath. Then her finger moved in the moonlight. Her musket shattered the moonlight, shattered her breast in the moonlight, and warned him with her death. So what does she do?
She kills herself.
She kills herself. Okay, so when the highwayman comes to visit her in her window, does she say anything to him verbally?
No.
No. Does she say, I love you?
No.
No. But now, what does she say?